This could go down as an extremely smart decision by the Rams. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramily, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're also available over on YouTube, so if you haven't yet, do me a huge favor. Join the party, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and if you really want to support the show, hit the like button, comment. My name is Doug McCain. Friends call me D-Mac. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. I've covered LA sports for over a decade, 24/7 sports, Bleacher Report, SI, Dodgers Nation. I also do NFL radio for Westwood One. The People's Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers, will be back joining us tomorrow. On today's episode, we're going to start our list of the most important Rams heading into the 2025 season. We're going to look at some contracts that we got new details about and what it means for the Rams. Also, why the Rams may have made a really good decision. But first, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Okay, so the Rams did not trade for Jalen Ramsey. They did not bring him back. And yes, could he have helped this team? And would he have been possibly an upgrade if you got the best version of what he's capable of at this stage of his career? Sure, it's possible. But also, you don't always want to get back with your ex. You never want to reheat those McDonald's French fries. McDonald's French fries, when you go to the drive-thru, you get them in the window. It's almost impossible not to reach in that bag and just get a handful of them. Delicious, salty, warm. If you go home, though, let them sit for a while. And you're like, oh, what's going on here? Try to microwave those things. They don't taste the same. And I don't think the Jalen Ramsey experience would have been the same. He wouldn't have been as productive of a player. And I think contractually, you look at the fact that he got a raise and the Steelers are going to be paying him $26 million. And he's also probably going to want something in the future. Did not necessarily make the most sense for the Rams' current roster build and where they're at with the state of their franchise. And then just diving into the numbers and looking at their secondary over the last couple of days, I think the Rams know something. I think the Rams realize that, yes, they were involved in the end with this, and they were clearly interested in bringing him back, but there's no guarantee that the Dolphins deal with the Rams because they want to make a Fitzpatrick back. They wanted to make that trade, and that was that. But I think the Rams may have, I don't want to just call it they dodged a bullet because I think that's a little extreme. I think Ramsey could have been additive. But some of the best deals are the ones you don't make. And this could fall under that category because when you look at last year and the Rams secondary and the guys are getting this year, there is a chance that this could be an above average group. And that's all you need from this group for this team to be Super Bowl contenders because of the talent and the high level talent at other positions. So let's look into it. And we're going to start with Kobe Durant. So Kobe Durant, he is in his last year of his rookie deal. He showed flashes throughout his career. And I'm going to give you optimism. I'm going to give you reason to be excited about this Rams secondary. Kobe Durant, he gave up just 293 yards in coverage last season. That was fifth among all DBs who saw at least 50 targets coming their way. What does that mean? That means that he got a lot of passes thrown his way, but he did not give up a ton of yards. 293 yards in coverage. And that's what you want. That's the kind of production you want. So you look at stats like that, and then you ask yourself, okay, so Kobe Durant, he's going to be as incentivized as ever to have a good year. He's always had the talent. Can he help this team win a Super Bowl? I certainly think he can. And he's going to want to put himself in a position to get a nice contract. Now let's jump to Akello Witherspoon. So there's ups and downs with Akello, but I think he's just so comfortable at this state of his career. And I look at the way that he finished his season last year. In the playoffs, the Rams got a win. They beat the Vikings, and they almost pulled off the win of the playoffs. That would have been the win of the playoffs. Beating the eventual Super Bowl champions on the road in the snow for a West Coast team. And that would have set up the Rams at home against the Washington Commanders against a rookie quarterback in Jayden Daniels, albeit a really good rookie quarterback who I think has the potential to be a top 5 quarterback in this league for a long time. That's a great situation for the Rams. There was a reason why Sean McVay was emotional as he was. He was very emotional after the Rams lost to the Eagles, and I think it's because, one, he loved the group, and I think, two, it's because he saw a Super Bowl appearance slip through his fingers. He knew it was right there. If he didn't feel confident about who they were going to face in the NFC, you go up against a juggernaut on the road, it might have been difficult. He knew the circumstances, and that's why he was upset. Well, in that postseason run, Ahkello Witherspoon was huge in that. He gave up 20 yards in the playoffs. He allowed just 20 yards on 4 catches in the Rams' 2 playoff games. His coverage grade per PFF sat at 73. That ranks 6th among all NFL cornerbacks in the postseason. So he stepped his game up, and he found something from a technique standpoint towards the second half of the season in the playoffs. Hasn't lost a step. He's gotten more clarity mentally, understanding the system with Chris Shula. Chris Shula really loves him. This Rams organization clearly really loves him, bringing him back. So Ahkello Witherspoon, he's got that dog in him. He's got that leadership in him. He's someone that really, I think you look at, he's just kind of clicking at that position. And the hope is that he carries that momentum into this season. Then there is Darius Williams. Darius Williams is someone that I think out of these 3 guys, maybe you should be the most excited about. That's because his numbers last year, they definitely, as a whole, kind of made you wonder, okay, what are we getting out of Darius Williams at this point of his career? Is he not the same productive cornerback? Well, you look at the overall grade and you say to yourself, he got a 60 grade. That was 122 out of 222 quarterbacks. His cornerback grade for coverage was 61.5. That was 103 out of 100 out of 222. 1 interception, 37 receptions allowed. Those aren't eye-popping numbers, but they don't tell the whole story because he had some very rough stretches in the middle of the year when he came back after that injury. But then the light really turned on by the end of the season. From week 15 to the end of the year, he allowed a passer rating of 49.7. That was the 7th best among corners in the NFL that had at least 55 snaps. He had 1 interception. He didn't allow a touchdown. He gave a completion rate of 50%. So I think for Williams, there is are you healthy? Because if you are, we see that you can be productive. And then 2, it's schematically, are we putting you in the right spots to have success? And I think that now after a year with Darius Williams, Chris Shula is going to understand just how to do that. And I think that that's what we saw, a better understanding about how to use him in spots where he doesn't get exposed. And you just kind of take advantage of the skills that he does have. So that definitely is something to feel really good about because that was a prolonged stretch for him. And then there's Emmanuel Forbes. This is the X factor. This is the wild card. The coaches have been raving about him. His teammates have said it as well. The fact that he has put on some pounds, added some muscle. He was a former first-round pick for the Commanders for a reason, and now he has an opportunity to completely turn his career around with the Los Angeles Rams. In college, he was an absolute ball hawk. He had 14 interceptions in just 3 seasons. He led college football twice in interceptions and returned yards and pick sixes. I mean, think about that. This is someone that has had electrifying moments on a football field. That's what he knows. So the potential is certainly there for him. The long arms, the lanky build that he has. He's just kind of built for that. It's just about finding the scheme, finding the body type that I think can have success to translate at this level. So a lot of this falls on him. And I think that he sees his NFL future in the balance, right? The Rams picked up on waivers, so they're on the hook for what's left of that rookie deal. But, hey, he would love to stay here long term. And then there's the non-corners that I think help the corners. I think that's kind of the biggest thing, too. I mean, you look at the Rams pass rush. When you pressure the quarterback and you bring pressure and you're having success with guys like Jared Verse and Byron Young and Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk and this ferocious defensive line and edge rush scheme that they have, well, guess what? The quicker you get to the quarterback, the less time he has to throw and the more errant throws he has. So that is going to supplement some or anything they might not have or any deficiencies they might have. So there's that, is that if you're continuing to get pressure with your front four and your edge rushers are successful, it's going to make life a lot easier for your DBs, for your safeties. And then there's Quinn Lake. I don't think Quinn Lake gets enough love. UCLA Bruin, gotta love me some Q Lake. Well, hey, Quinn Lake has that versatility. Last season, he played in every single game, every snap outside of Week 18 when the Rams were resting because they had already clinched. And he has a versatility. Use him at safety, use him as nickel. He's someone that's willing to do anything this Rams organization asks of him, and he's continuing to get better. He's a leader out there, and I think that is kind of what they might have lost if you bring in Jalen Ramsey, is does Quinn Lake have the same voice? Does he have the same role just because there's another guy that kind of takes a lot of the oxygen out of that room? So that's kind of how I look at it. And then just look at just the overall production. I mean, the Rams from week 7 on for the rest of the season, they gave a passer rating of 89.3 on defense. That was top 10. They had 11 interceptions. That was 4th most in the NFL. They allowed a 64% completion rate. That was 11th best. So their success against quarterbacks and offenses in so many different metrics from week 7 towards the end of the year and in the playoffs was in the top 10 range. So that makes me optimistic, and I think you should be too. And next, we're going to talk about some contracts that we have new details on, and the most important Rams of the 2025 season. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. And a reminder that today's episode of Locked On Rams brought to you by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights or golf on the green or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned on the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. Whether I'm placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet right into the 9th inning, FanDuel makes it feel like I'm part of the action. And tonight at Dodger Stadium, Clayton Kershaw goes for 3,000. Looking at some of these props, he's a minus 1450 to get at least 3 strikeouts. But the over-under is at 4.5 at minus 118. The Dodgers are 1.5-point favorites in this one, minus 320 on the money line. I think the Dodgers get the win tonight. But go over to FanDuel, and if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Want to send a special shout out there to our everyday listeners out there, our everyday viewers watching and listening to every single episode of Locked On Rams. Cannot thank you enough. And the season is getting closer. We are in July. It starts this month. I cannot wait. So now is the time to become an everyday listener. Join the Ramley, and then you won't miss a thing about your Los Angeles Rams. Okay, so let's get into it with some contract talk. We've got some new details on Rams contracts, and Derion Kendrick, who's another guy in the secondary that has a chance to help this team. Well, the Rams like him. They didn't like what they were paying him. Before minicamp, the Rams waived him. The move ultimately saved them $3.4 million in cap space, and then a few days after that, they brought him back in what's going to be his fourth year. His new deal, we have details on, is worth just north of $1.03 million. There's no guaranteed money. So he was originally going to take home $3.4 million. So he took a massive pay cut to come back to the Rams. And the reason why the cap hit was getting up there was because he earned that proven performance escalator. That proven performance escalator bumps you up as a former 6th-round pick. So that raised the base salary, but it did not add any additional guaranteed money. So that made it an easy decision from a finance standpoint. It's kind of an ugly situation, right? You don't want to have that, but still, I mean, they had to do what they had to do because they're smart about the way they can play the margins with their cap and what they're doing. So it definitely made it an easier decision to cut him. But now he's back with a contract that he would have made without the performance escalator, without the proven performance escalator. So that makes more sense for the Rams. And basically, this is a bet on yourself. Hey, you got a chance to make this team. You got a chance to make this 53-man roster. And if you do, great. But if you don't, the Rams, they will save the entire $1.03 million, and then they'll cut him, right? I mean, that's just kind of where they're at. So that's the situation with Derion Kendrick. Other contracts that we've got some info on, David Quessenberry's contract, we got the details on that. And right now, you're looking at a one-year deal that is at $1.33 million, fully guaranteed. The Rams can still cut him if they decide to do that, and that would leave behind $1.13 million in dead money, and it would only save them $195,500 in cap space. So this contract basically tells you he's going to make that 53-man roster, and his role on this team is to be one of the main backups at the offensive tackle position. So that's not great for guys like Warren McClendon Jr. and A.J. Arcuri, who are right on the fringes of this roster. Quessenberry, since he has the ability to be that swing tackle, you can put him behind Humphries and you can put him behind Havenstein. And if Alaric Jackson is still not recovered from the blood clots, well, then that also gives him a major opportunity to have a role for this team. So that's looking like a guaranteed deal that is going to lead to a cemented roster spot. And then DJ Humphries' deal is almost a very similar situation. So DJ Humphries, when they signed him, it was a move that was in response to Alaric Jackson's blood clot situation. And the Rams, they signed him to a one-year deal, and the one-year deal is at $2.5 million. That includes $2.34 million guaranteed. The cap hits at $2.36 million for the 2025 season. So that's not chump change, right? That's not just the minimum or anything like that. So that's another example of a guy that is going to likely make this team because of that contract. I mean, even if you were to cut DJ Humphries, the dead money would only save $18,824 in cap space. So there's really no incentive for them to cut him. So he's another guy that, based on the contract, it tells you that he's going to be on the 53-man roster. And I think even more so than that, this is a guy that not only might make the roster, he's a guy who could be starting for a long stretch depending on what happens to Alaric Jackson. So, yeah, Alaric Jackson, that's one of the big storylines. I mean, if you're going to rank the storylines heading into the 2025 season, I mean, I could make the case that that's right at the top, is Alaric Jackson's health, because the Rams signed him to a new deal, $57.75 million, and then he was diagnosed with blood clots in his leg, something that he has had to deal with for for years now as far as the scare of it, but he dealt with it in 2022 when he missed significant time. So let's hope that it's nothing that lingers and that they caught it early enough. But the good news here is that the Rams have clearly made it a point to make sure that they're covered in some capacity. I think DJ Humphries is really interesting. I really do. I think that DJ Humphries is out to prove something. I think DJ Humphries is certainly a player that has had success in this league, and it's a great depth piece. And we'll see what happens with Alec Jackson. I hate that this has happened, and it's a positive that it's not something that is physical necessarily. It's more kind of blood clot internal, that if the medication does its thing and everything goes well, then hopefully that this is the move that we don't talk about very much throughout the season. But that is where they're at, and that's how their 3 contracts that we have new details of impact that roster status. But coming up next, the most important Rams heading into the 2025 season, that's coming up next on Locked On Rams. And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday, free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, here in the third segment, we got our most important Rams heading into the 2025 season. We're going to start with number 20. How about Poona Ford? Thought about making him higher on this list, but I'm very excited about Poona Ford. Poona Ford is one of the best run stuffers in the NFL. He is compact as a nose tackle, but he's got these lanky arms. He makes plays, and that's why the Rams signed him to a 3-year deal in free agency. He is the replacement for Bobby Brown III. And yes, Bobby Brown, he's not back. That was his prerogative, and it was great to monitor his career. Every little step he took was a big step. But, yeah, he is not going to be a Ram. And Poona Ford, he takes that spot there right in the middle of the defensive line. So he has been really good for a long stretch. He was really good for the Chargers last season. And just to kind of rewind on the Poona Ford signing, the Rams, they entered the Poona Ford business after he really proved himself in this league. I mean, in 2018, he was a UDFA coming out of the University of Texas. The Seahawks signed him, and he makes that 53-man roster, and he spent the first 5 years of his career in Seattle. Then in 2023, he was with the Bills, and then he signed a 1-year deal with the Chargers in 2024, and the Rams, they signed him to a 3-year, $27.6 million contract this offseason. So last year for the Chargers, 17 games, 39 tackles, 3 sacks, 8 tackles for a loss, 9 QB hits, had an interception, and 1 pass defense. Okay, I definitely recommend going and checking out that interception on YouTube because, yeah, that shows some athleticism, great hands there. And we look at the role he's going to have for this team. He is going to be the Rams starting nose tackle. That's what he's going to be, and that's a role that Bobby Brown was holding down. So you look at the defensive line, he's going to be right next to Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk, and they're going to try to do a much better job in stopping the run. There's been a lot of talk about the explosive runs that they gave up last year, especially to Saquon Barkley, and Rams players talking about how that is going to be what could take this defense to the next level, just limiting those explosive plays. But also, it's the little plays too. It's the first yard, the first down yardage that you get up the middle. And Poona Ford has that ability to just be that run stuffer. And he's just someone that plays a lot of power and strength. He also is quick, and he just knows how to shed blocks and plug holes and get down running back. So he's not going to be this every single down player that's going to play every single snap. But when you see him on the field, early down situations, when there are obvious run situations for the other team, he's going to be out there, and that's going to be his job. And I think that he is of massive importance to this team because he hangs his hat as a run defender. He's not someone that is a big pass rusher type of guy. He ended up having 3 pressures in 2024. That was actually the fewest for defensive tackles last season, but he he was able to get those 25 pressures the season before. So it's not impossible, but he is someone that when you see him making plays out there, it's most likely more often than not going to be stuffing the run. So I like this. The Rams kind of made a move that wasn't the flashiest, but they realized, hey, we need to upgrade on the interior, and that's exactly what he does. He's someone that I think can do at the worst. His floor is doing the same job that Bobby Brown did, but I think his ceiling is that he can do better than him. And hey, I think he could learn some different techniques, and I think the Rams could put him in a better position to improve as a pass rusher. So yeah, I mean, if the Rams go out there and they continue to generate pressure like we saw last season, Ford doesn't need necessarily to be that guy for them. So having a guy that can go and stop the run with his power, with his size down there, it's just going to improve the quality of this overall team. He's a fun guy to watch, get down and dirty in there, Poona Ford. So, yeah, he's coming in at number 20. And, by the way, I don't know if you saw this, Jared Goff got a little emotional on the show Quarterback about the whole trade that went down. There's a sneak peek of the upcoming season of Quarterback on Netflix, and Goff was talking about how he felt wanted by the Lions. And Goff said, it kind of brought me from this moment of like picking up the pieces to like reinvigorated with this energy of like, oh, this is what it feels like to truly be wanted. And I have these guys behind you. And I hadn't felt that way in quite some time. So, yeah, he said that a lot of people saw it like I was being a castaway or I was being sent for my career to die. And I think a lot of people in my former organization may have thought that as well. For me, I saw it as what an incredible opportunity to be somewhere that has never won and has never been to the top of the mountain. How incredible would it be to be able to build this thing into a winner? So, yeah, I got to give him credit, man. I really do. I mean, Jared Goff goes to Detroit. It feels like, oh, man, that's the last place you want to go. He goes there. I mean, the Rams had just gave him a $134 million deal, and it looked like he was going to be an all-time Ram. I mean, at some point they were going to break through and win that Super Bowl like he was that guy. But the Rams said, hey, we want to upgrade, and they clearly like at the beginning of the show, sometimes the moves you don't make are good moves. Hey, this move was a move they make, and it led to a Super Bowl. So I do think it's one of those rare trades where both organizations won. So I definitely feel good for Jared Goff. I feel good for the Detroit Lions, but still, I will say that hey, the bigger winners are the ones that won the Lombardi Trophy. The bigger winners are the ones that wins the Super Bowl and has the ring to show for it. So the Rams always will be the winners of that trade, but you can have multiple winners, I guess I should say. You can have a couple different winners in that one, but it's not just one winner. But the bigger winner, of course, was the Los Angeles Rams, who won Super Bowl 56. But that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Enjoy the rest of your day, and until next time, hit that like button on the way out. It really helps the channel. And as always, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.